What in your life feels heavy right now? Something you know deep down it's time to release. Where are you holding on so tightly out of fear of change? And if you did let go, what space could open up for something new to grow? You see, friend, nature has this beautiful way of mirroring back to us the wisdom we sometimes forget. And it's fall. The trees don't cling to their leaves, right? They surrender. They trust the cycle. And just like the trees, we are inviting to let go in our minds, in our emotions, and in our spirits. So stay with me in this episode because we're going to talk about how letting go serves you. But before we do that, one thing I wanted to let you know. Starting October, I am going to be rebranding my podcast because, as you know, I've told you that I wanted to get 1,000 downloads per episodes, but I think my name is not working out. Neuro Soul Sync, even though I love it, and I'm going to stay with it, but the name is not really working out in regards to SEO and keyword and all that beautiful stuff that I am not savvy at all, but that I have my podcast coach, Stephanie Gass, and her team told me that maybe it's time for me to change the name. And so I am going to be doing that in October. So when you see the new podcast art and new podcast name, don't freak out. It's me. It's still me. And you know what? I'm going to call it Rewire to Align. Yes, the same thing that I call the private Facebook group that I hope that you are member already. That's how I'm going to call the podcast. So I wanted to throw it out there pew, for you to know that when you see the name, it's still me. However, I had to rebrand in order for me to grow. And talking about grow, it will also help for you to leave me a review of the podcast, right? And also share it with your family and friends if you find that it serves you. Okay, now let's get started with the episode. Hello, beautiful soul. What beliefs do you hold about yourself that might be limiting your potential? In what areas of your life do you feel you are not living authentically? What fears prevent you from expressing your true self? In what ways do you feel disconnected from your higher self, and what beliefs contribute to this disconnection? Welcome to Neuro Soul Sync, a podcast that blends neuroscience and spirituality, exploring the connection of our spiritual and emotional lives with the neuroscience of our bodies and brain. I'm Michelle Marie, your host, certified spiritual neurocoach, IVF twin mompreneur, lover of human design, and all things personal development. A few years ago, I felt exactly like that, yearning to live on purpose and authentically. I wanted to live fearlessly, prioritizing my needs and creating a life aligned to my core values and beliefs. And I was able to master this through neuroplasticity, spirituality, energetics, and the exact simple tools I will share with you here. I believe that when we are in alignment with who we are, life transforms from stuck and resistant to a journey of flow, impacting not only ourselves, but the collective consciousness. So if you're ready to get in the driver's seat of your life, live with authenticity, and discover simple yet powerful solutions that will guide you from feeling stuck to fulfill, this is your sacred space. Let's get ready to vibe high, align, and manifest. Welcome to the podcast, friend. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is officially the fall season, and I am a fall baby. I was born on December 4, just before winter, and I am a fall season, and I think this is why I have always been a fan of this season. Even though I was born and raised in Puerto Rico, and now I live in Miami, and we don't have season change like officially. However, in Miami, when fall season hits, you can start seeing like the light becomes crispier and You feel like it's eternal morning. It's beautiful. And obviously, if you live in places that you can see the change of season, you can appreciate how beautiful fall is. I love it. And I go into purging and I go into letting go. And this is the season where I really do like a lot of things in my house. I start decluttering. I go crazy. I go a little crazy because I just love this season. And here is something fascinating. Our brains are wired for cycles too. In neuroscience, because this podcast, is part neuroscience, we know the nervous system thrives when it has periods of activation and periods of rest. But as humans, and because we live in a very fast paced world, a world that wears productivity and being busy as a badge of honor, which is total bullcrap, we often resist the rest or the letting go phase because it feels like loss. When you hold on tightly to old beliefs, old stories, or even toxic habits, your brain stays in a state of stress, friend. And we don't want to do that because it's constantly firing signals that you're unsafe if you release control. And this is why change feels very uncomfortable. Have you ever been in that state that you don't want to release control and you're constantly in a state of stress? If you are a friend, I invite you to start letting go and surrendering. And here's the shift. When you intentionally practice letting go, your brain's prefrontal cortex, the area that is responsible for perspective, clarity, decision making, reasoning. I mean, I've told you this 100 times before, and I hope that I don't sound like a broken record. Anyway, the prefrontal cortex starts to quiet the amygdala. And do you remember the amygdala? The one that is about fear, survival, fight or flight. In other words, letting go, literally rewires your brain to trust the unknown. So we really have to be very intentional when we are in this stage. And you know that I mentioned before, I start my year with spring. I think the cycles of nature are so important and it mirrors the cycles of our lives. So I start in spring and then, by this time I'm calming down, I'm surrendering, I'm letting go, I'm doing practices that are daily practices where I can let go and purge and do this. It really grounds me. It really helps my nervous system also to quiet. And spiritually, fall is a sacred season. It's the space between the vibrancy of summer that we had, and it's so much fun. And we travel and we're with the kids if you have kids, or with the friends if you don't have kids. And we take advantage of summer and going out and being out there on the beach and, going to another country or moving around. It's a fun, 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 fun season. And then the stillness of winter, which is more about inward, right? And this season asks us to surrender what no longer serves us, to release with trust and letting go. Sometimes we see it as failure, but it's not. It means that it's making space for alignment. When you let go, you are actually stepping deeper into your sovereignty. You're saying, I trust that releasing this make me more of who I truly am. And let me tell you something, friend. In my own journey, I have learned that the most powerful breakthroughs often came after I surrender something I thought I couldn't live without. And this can be an identity and expectation, relationships, I mean. However, I'm going to tell you, I held on to certain people, certain friendships, my job, my real estate job for so long, so long. And you know what happens? And this is something that I was talking about with a friend of mine the other day and with a client as well. How is the universe going to provide you with something new if we hold on to something old and that no longer serves us? And this is key to understand. When we want to manifest or create something new in our lives, we really have to take the time and see what we can let go. And that's what I did when I decided to close my chapter on real estate, even though I was doing already my certification of brain coaching and life coaching and spiritual coaching. All of those certifications, I did it while I still had my real estate license with the company that I loved, that I used to work for. But I saw that things were not speeding up. Everything was going so slow, slower than molasses, actually. And then the moment that I say, gee, I have to let go in order for my life to start moving forward, boom, I let go of my real estate career, did all the paperwork, and then this career emerged fully like a flower. And then I let go of certain friends that were not serving me anymore, and that made space for other friends that are more aligned with where I am right now. We go through seasons in life, and we have to understand that. So, my question is, what are you holding on to? Why can't you let it go? Why can't you surrender? And also, there is an opportunity here when we truly do not let go something and we hold on to it, even though we know it has run its course. We need to know why. We have to make that or have that awareness and create the practice of finding out why are we holding on to? What is this giving us? Or maybe we're holding on to the identity of that specific time where we were in that relationship, work, or whatever it is. There is an exercise and it's very, very important. So now I want to take the next moment to do a simple practice together. But before we do that simple practice, my question is, are you inside of the Facebook group, Rewire to Align? If not, remember this is a beautiful community that is just like you and me, like-minded souls coming together in this beautiful personal development journey. And there is community. You can find also people that will expand your mind, people that will support you. Maybe there's people in your same city in the Facebook group that you can go out and have coffee. Anyway, it's a great opportunity for growth. So I'm going to leave the link in the show notes for you to check it out. And also remember that going forward in October, the podcast is going to what? It's going to be rebranded. It's going to have a new name because remember that I wanted to grow it and the title is not helping me too much. So I am taking that action of changing the title in order for me to grow my podcast. And remember that you can also help me grow if you share it with your family and friends. And if you leave a review, either on Apple Podcast or Spotify or Pandora or any of the places that you listen to your podcast, you can leave me a review. It's going to help me a lot because that's the way that people will find it. So a lot of things here, the Facebook community, the rebranding of my podcast, and then, help me grow by sharing it. Are you ready to do this practice with me? If you're not driving, you can do this. If you're driving, come back to this point in time in the episode where you can sit down and do this with me. All right, let's do this. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, imagine the trees in your mind. this beautiful tree, fall tree, dropping the leaves. Now, think of one thing in your life you know it's time to release. Maybe it's a belief, a resentment, a relationship, maybe even a role you've outgrown. And visualize that by placing it gently in your hands. Take another deep breath. And on your exhale, imagine blowing it into the wind, just like the leaves being carried away. And let it go. And feel your body lighter. And you're being lighter. Notice how your body feels. Softer, free, lighter. That's your nervous system experiencing the power of release. Yes, that's wonderful. You can open your eyes now. How do you feel? How do you feel with this small but powerful practice? It's fall, my friend. I love it. I might create a little workbook for you. I will leave it in the show notes if I do for you to download, because I think this time it's a beautiful time because it helps us grow into our next level. This is the time where we start making space for the new that is coming in the new year. Fall reminds us that letting go is not the end. It's the preparation, right? The tree doesn't mourn the leaves that fall. It trusts that in time, new life will come. Imagine yourself like that tree. What you're doing by letting go is that you're preparing yourself to be open and to receive all the beautiful things that you want in your life. It's a time of growth. So I invite you this week to ask yourself, what is one thing that you can release to create space for the new? One thing this week that you can let go, my friend. Remember, your mind, your body, and your spirit all thrive when you honor the cycles of life. And just like nature, you are allowed to surrender. You're allowed to rest. And you are always supported. The universe always support you. Listen, when you do this practice this week of letting something go to create space for the new, I want you to share with me what your insights were of this practice. And you can come and find me on Instagram because it's my favorite hangout. And my handle is at Michelle Mari Pacheco. You're going to find it in the show notes. Come and leave me a DM. Let me know how this practice served you. Okay, friend. Beautiful, beautiful soul. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope that this episode serves and blesses you. And if today's reflection resonated, I want you to take a moment to journal about what you're letting go and what you're opening space for. And as always, know that alignment and sovereignty begins the moment you choose to take action through your highest self. I'm sending you love. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I love creating it. If what you heard helped you, the number one way you can thank me is by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. My mission is that you feel empowered and more spiritually connected after listening, so your feedback means the world to me. Just scroll down to where it says write a review and leave me yours. And if you love what NeuroSoulSync is about, please share with your family and friends. I believe the world becomes a better place when we come together collectively to make the change. I look forward to be with you next week.